and welcome to the Intrepid Museum here in New York City. First time in here. It's 33 bucks to get in, so it is a bit pricey, but what isn't in New York? But I found myself in the area, so here we are. I'm actually very excited because there's a Concorde commercial aviation plane sitting down the end of the pier over here, which I've never seen before. Plus there's a Stealth sitting at the edge of the, if I could get that, it's at the edge up there of the aircraft carrier, plus numerous other warplanes and other types of vehicles. Very fascinating. I'm not a huge war buff, but I am interested in war history, and I've been to many war military history museums around the world. So this is a big one that I have never been to, that has been recommended for a long time. Here we are. Not a ton of time, so I won't have much detail to go into as far as the exhibits are concerned, but I'll do my best for the time that I have. All right, here we go. The Intrepid Museum. Okay, we're in now, finally, after some weird processing errors on my cards, but I don't know what's going on. We have three different things to visit. The Concorde interior, unfortunately, is a $7 upcharge to go inside, which I passed on because it's just a little too time-consuming and cost-consuming, considering, yeah, $7 to go inside an airplane for 20 minutes. But we're gonna do this submarine now. We're gonna check this out. It's a view from the deep, the submarine, Growler, and the Cold War. I've actually been on a submarine before, at least an American one, in Pearl Harbor. So this will be an interesting comparison between the two.
So they just went inside? You weren't with them? So there's...
Lots of information about warheads, bombs, and torpedoes in this section. We're in a tent, I believe it's just above the actual submarine itself. We're going to go down and check that out. Some interactive exhibits. Lots of kids here, so I won't be able to really interact that much with the exhibits. As, yeah, it's hard to get in a little time to do so.
weather condition. I think we all really knew too that we were really on
We've got to go through this hatch to see if we can get through the hatch. Success. Fairly large. Never gone through the back before. This one's not submerged like the one in Pearl Harbor, however.
name is Molly, and I'm a tour guide here at the Intrepid Museum. You're about to explore the former Uss Brawler, a guided missile submarine that served during the Cold War. I'd like to share some background on Growler to prepare you for your visit and give you a better understanding of this submarine's significance. By the time I'm finished, you'll be ready to enter the submarine. Growler represents an early effort by the Navy to use submarines
Had a short
as launch
life for this
platforms for
submarine.
nuclear missiles.
58 to 64,
Growler
6
carried
years of
4
service.
Regulus 1 cruise missiles. The Regulus 1 missile
smell,
was essentially
like-
a radar-guided jet aircraft.
I don't know if it's
that carried
asbestos, but
nuclear
the
warheads.
insulation
Each
has
missile
a
had a
certain
maximum
scent
range
to
of
it.
500 miles and powerful enough to destroy
Got
areas
humidifiers in here to make sure everything doesn't get out of
Growler was a key
control.
part of the United States nuclear deterrence strategy.
Emmanuel, t'as vu c'était leur lit, c'est pas très grand.
전쟁할 사람도 엄청 힘들겠네.
Ça c'était leur toilette. Bah, c'est là qu'ils buvaient de l'eau.
아빠도 전쟁하는데 아빠의 목숨을 내놓고 한 거야? 옛날에 했잖아. 이렇게 작았는데?
Ça de leur café. Alors ça c'est pour naviguer, tu vois, regarde. Tu vois, comme tout dans tous les bateaux, en fait, on utilise souvent des compas et des équerres pour savoir exactement où est-ce
앉을 수도 있는데? 올라갈 수도 있어.
So it was a decommissioned sub after 6 years because of the advancement of technology. Also in the intro, they mentioned on the Growler, which we're on, that it's the only U.S. submarine, not supposed to touch anything, that can currently be visited.
우리 그리고 전쟁도
90 to 110 crew members.
근데 우리는 안 했어.
I did visit a submarine in Pearl Harbor, so I don't know if that submarine is no longer available. We have imagine being in this thing
Yann, pourquoi ils étaient
at
partis
sea for 2 months.
여기 왔어요.
The submarine also had to go to the surface in order to fire its warheads. Original flooring.
이렇게 하면 사람들이 다 보잖아. 실사는 거. 이렇게 하면 실사는 거 다 보잖아.
Now we gotta go through a portal. The pantry is tiny. This thing serviced 90 men. Couldn't even service 9 in today's standards. That's where the cooks probably stayed. Wardroom.
여기 맛있는 거 먹었는데.
Rather spacious, you would say.
Alors c'est pour ça que dans l'armée, tu vois, manette, c'est pour ça que dans l'armée,
Some more quarters, officers' stateroom. So this is a higher end quarters.
땅은 건 뭐야? 하와이라고 썼어요?
Commanding officer's stateroom. No different than, say, hostel or Japanese hotel. CPO.
작아. 여긴 근데 여기서 살면
The office.
싫어하겠어. 여기서 살면은 무슨 마트
Really has that old technology smell.
몰라. 어떻게 de l'eau.
Allez, on peut avoir une belle photo ici, avec un gros sourire.
Tu peux aller là, toi.
Vas-y, thank you.
Big smiles now. Turn
Allez,
around.
allez.
Big smiles. There you go.
Allez, un gros sourire, un gros sourire, un
Wonderful.
gros sourire.
You're steering a submarine.
Allez,
Control
regarde,
room
regarde.
and attack center.
That's cool.
Periscope.
Alors, where are you taking us?
Where are we going? We're going to land it. Here, lad. Here, lad.
J'ai vraiment conduit le sous-marin.
Bah,
Non.
c'était là que les gens.
C'est là qu'il lance conduisait, mais là,
Ouais.
peut-être. Là, il est fixé au sol.
Emmanuel, ça veut dire quoi, smile?
Big
Ça veut
smiles.
dire quoi, smile?
C'est comme
We have a veteran in the background there. He's in the steerage area, telling everybody how to steer the actual submarine. Sonar room.
Ça c'est l'endroit des radars. Regardez, regardez,
La machine
regardez.
à écrire.
Emmanuel, ça c'est l'endroit des radars, des sonars. Les radars sous-marins, c'est les endroits qui détectent les navires ennemis. Et tu vois, ça,
Il y a une machine à écrire
il y a
là.
un truc qui tourne et ça
Some
te-
lucky
ça te-
strikes.
Dès qu'il trouve quelque chose qui est pas loin. Avec la Terre. Ça c'est la salle des radios. Tu vois, ils ont envoyé des signes.
comme ça qu'ils n'avaient pas de téléphone. donc.
Scullery. There's a more appropriate sized kitchen.
La cuisine.
Cruise mess, complete with tables.
Regarde les robots. C'était leur robot.
Ah bah ça c'était si vous l'avez vu.
Lots of games to keep people sane.
Regardez, c'est comme
Tape recorder.
C'est l'endroit où ils s'amusaient un peu. Aux échecs.
Ah là, ils avaient un peu plus d'espace enfin.
Ça s'appelle, dans l'armée, les endroits où on peut jouer comme ça s'appelle un mess.
Ah bon? Et on prend ça aussi?
Oui.
Oula. Il y en a beaucoup des.
Cruise quarters stacked 4 high. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Pour dormir.
C'est un endroit pour dormir, c'est un autre endroit pour dormir pour les gens qui sont pas très très hauts dans la hiérarchie, tu vois. Parce que là, ils sont très nombreux.
Mais
Pour ceux qui viennent d'arriver, qui va.
là il y a encore des lits.
Imagine, t'es là-dedans, tu dors et en fait, t'es complètement sous l'eau.
Another porthole. Most importantly, a toilet.
Là c'est des robinets. Ici bah.
Engine room. I think the main engine. Well, there's one over there. And one next to us here.
Ça, c'est la salle des machines. C'est ce qui fait tourner, c'est ce qui fait avancer le. C'est là où on fait tourner l'hélice. C'est ce qui permet de faire tourner l'hélice du sous-marin et d'avancer.
Engine control room.
Ça, c'est bien pour Emmanuel.
C'est quoi? Ils
Il serait content dans un sous-marin, il se lavait pas beaucoup.
n'avaient pas beaucoup d'eau pour se laver.
Allez, et là, c'est quoi ça?
Ça, c'est là l'endroit où on contrôle la salle des machines, là où on vérifie que les hélices tournent bien.
Another porthole.
Maman, c'est quoi?
Another toilet. Maneuvering room.
Encore des toilettes.
Ah oui, souvent, ils descendaient d'un endroit un peu chase.
Do a jeep and turn around. If we're chased by a submarine, we're chased by a submarine.
Torpedo
yes,
room.
that's in the back.
So,
Okay, yes, let's not overthink it.
Okay.
Only put torpedoes here that are going to be used against submarines.
Okay,
Because that's
yes.
the only person that's
That's clear. Okay.
Alors là, c'est l'endroit où ils pouvaient. Là, c'est un
Thank
autre
you.
truc.
You're welcome, sir.
Là,
Thank
pour
you,
se
bye.
battre contre d'autres bateaux ou d'autres sous-marins, ils pouvaient lancer des torpilles. Ça, c'est des torpilles pour tuer les autres sous-marins.
Oh,
Ah bah voilà.
Ça fait plaisir.
And then we're out.
Bah, t'es dessus.
And then we're out. We are in the top of the submarine itself. You can actually get a good view of what it actually is all about from here. Because you kind of enter it and you don't really realize that you're in it It is a very bulky machine, fairly wide. But that's that. Excellent tour. Kind of glad I came here. Now, just based on that, I feel it can only get better here at the Intrepid. We're gonna go into the aircraft carrier now. It's 4 levels, so there's lots to see. The security here don't mess around. Lots of families misbehaving and getting shouted at by military. Yeah, that's kind of entertaining in its own right. Anyhow, let's get inside this here rather large, decommissioned aircraft carrier. So it's flight deck time, and I've never been on one of these before. It's going to be quite exciting to check out. I took the stairs up. There is an elevator to get you up here as well, but obviously it's more convenient, at least from a space standpoint, to take the stairs. We're going to go check out a ton of aviation history here, which unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do any justice in this particular video. We will do our best. It's a Coast Guard helicopter. Sikorsky Sea Guard. Sikorsky HRS H-19 Chickasha. I like that one more. The Bell AH-1JC Cobra. It's obviously an attack helicopter. Bell UH-1A Iroquois. You might know this one. Rather famous from many military movies based around Vietnam, I believe. I am correct on that. I know more than I thought. British Aerospace AVAC Harrier. Everybody knows a Harrier jet. Famous for not having to take off the runway. What you have here is a actual port side elevator, of which the Beech T-34 Mentor is located. Can't get any access to that, but fascinating nonetheless that you have this large platform that lowers, I don't believe, to sea level. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first couple jets that we saw were of a modest size. That is changing now. As we hit this Marine warplane here. It's McConnell F4N Phantom 2. Followed by a Chance Voigt F8U FAK Crusader. That's also a very famous plane. I believe was in service for, I'll just double check here, 1955 to 1975. So not quite a Top Gun airplane as I thought it was. McCoy and Gurvich MiG-17. Beautiful paint job. And you have the MiG-21. Fascinating that some of these planes have been out of service for almost 70 years now. Northrop T-38 and Talon. Seeing these all, they literally look like giant toys in a way, given how colorful they are. And now probably the highlight of the tour, and I'm not even like halfway through it for me though, we have a space shuttle. The first one I've ever seen in person. Very excited about this. It's in this massive pavilion building behind me, located straight on top of the aircraft carrier. But we can just go in and check out the space shuttle. Not sure, well, I said that, and then I just got corrected. The Enterprise is located inside. As you'll know, there's less than a dozen made. I have not refreshed my knowledge on the history of the Enterprise, but we're about to meet it. Hi there. There's some info we need. I'm not going to give you my age, but it's older than me. At least I'll say that much. And there it is. Just come up, enter in from underneath the wing. To think that they were going to scrap these. I understand it takes a lot to house them, but shuttle cockpit here. In this day and age of video games, it doesn't seem as complicated as it once did. Try to get a better perspective of it up there. I will admit, it's much larger than I thought. We're in an obligatory photo position. So pardon the pause while I do the same. To think I had nothing planned today as I was going to just mill about New York. I didn't expect to actually run into the Space Shuttle. But here we are. Fantastic. Definitely worth the price of admission now. The only thing missing, we can't go on it. For obvious reasons, I guess, as it needs to be preserved. But you can certainly walk around it as we get a great perspective underneath. You can see the complete landing gear. I will say, is opposed to the warplanes outside, this one is in immaculate condition, considering it's over 40 years old, maybe 50 years old now. These joists are the only thing holding it up above our heads right now. It's a relatively light aircraft for its size, however. Considering that the cargo hold is so massive. I don't know if it's even allowed to be said here, but to think such a large apparatus created for a fake space mission. Insulation on the panels is starting to flick away. Looks like plaster of Paris to me. It's the first shuttle to orbit the Earth. We even have a Russian Soyuz try to deal with this flickering for you guys. And talk about close confines. Doesn't get any worse than that. It's tiny in there. And finally, we have a rover vehicle as well. Which is also, if this is an original construction, in immaculate shape. It looks like it hasn't even been used.
their bodies longitudinally in midair and land on their feet. An automatic reflex action is almost completely lost on their way.
Out in her mouth, like the pad in her mouth, it was like soaked through. It was disgusting. And she put it all over the table, and I was
To say I'm not tempted to get a spacesuit would be a lie. But considering that just a cap is 44 bucks. It's a good little gift shop, however, I'll give it that. NASA is still kind of like a trendy clothing item right now. Passing on that today. So as mentioned, I'm already very glad that I've decided during my wander to take a pass on the Met and come to this museum, as I've gotten a major bucket list attraction or visitation or whatever you want to call it, but to see the Space Shuttle is quite something else. It's like a shuttle going on above us here. That's Newark Airport, not too far from here. It's like a quieter side of the aircraft carrier that we're on, with a great view of Hudson Yards right behind us. The fact that this entire construction or ship and all its weight is just floating. Well, it's not floating, I don't think, anymore in the harbor, but it may be completely steady. It's just a marvel of engineering. I've never been on a cruise ship before. This will probably be the closest I ever get to being on a cruise ship. A great little view as well of my ferry just across the way. Taking off. Or a couple of them taking off, actually. And then we carry on. From this side of the aircraft carrier to the... We still have another couple of decks to check out. But I think that the main attractions are on this deck. Now we have a couple of more planes to go through, so we'll go through those now before making our way to the next level. Douglas XBT 2D1 Dauntless 2 Sky Raider. Now you'll know these planes from, essentially I believe these are World War II era planes. Wrong about this one being a World War II, first flown in 1936. Aramaki MB339. Of course, you can't see inside the cockpit, it's being protected. It's a beautiful color scheme on that one, though. Very Italian. McDonnell F3H-2N Demon. Just after the First World War. Then we have the Grauman WF-2 E-1B Tracer, which is a sonar plane from what I understand. Given that large disc atop of it. Grauman F9F-8 Cougar. Also another brilliant color scheme on this plane. Those of you more closer to my home will recognize this plane being a key attraction in the Canadian National Exhibitions Air Show, one of the Blue Angels. Grumman, I apologize if my pronunciation with Grauman is not correct. Super Tomcat, F-14D. We're getting into much more modern aircraft. Decommissioned in 2006. Went from 1972 to 2006. A long history for this plane. Definitely more what we're used to seeing as far as modern planes are concerned. We have a couple next to us that are like more the highlights of modern aviation technology. Before we take a look out of the back of the aircraft carrier. Where we go into the rest of New York City soon enough. Everybody will recognize this plane. The Stealth. Long fascinated for myself as well. It is just probably one of the sexiest planes ever built. Lockheed A-12. And we have a General Dynamics F-16A. Great view of the skyline in the background. And finally, Israel Aircraft Industries, KFIR.
Oh, by the way.
That is flight deck complete. Now we're going to go to another level. We're going to go up a level and go inside this main surfacing area of the aircraft carrier. And I have no idea what we're going to see up there other than maybe some nice views and also the interior of the command center for the aircraft carrier itself. I'll probably check a map while I'm in there to give you a better idea of what's to come here. So it seems that we've hit mainly the key attractions of the Intrepid Museum itself. We're really back to tourist season as people are just not going the right way to get inside this thing and going through the exit. Here at First Drop we follow our rules, especially since we're a solo traveler. We're being watched. In we go. It's not all that spacious in here, I will say. Officer's cabin is tiny, just like in the sub. It's the officer's office as well. chart house, navigation room. Definitely had an impression of the age of this particular ship, as there's some similarities to the submarine as well once you're inside here. Although it was in service far longer. The submarine itself. Pilot house. Timepiece is still working. Where the ship was actually steered from. Consider it's rather tiny, considering how massive this vessel actually is.
Ouais. Là, je sais pas ce que c'est vieux, hein.
See it, that's a secret, that's trippy.
Drôle, tous ces petits téléphones, machin, qui sont en bas pour cling cling clang clang de partout là.
Ouais, le petit lac.
Je vais faire une photo là. Rotary door. Avec la vue en plus, là, waouh. Très très beau. Je vais prendre un grand temps. Je suis vraiment contente de la photo.
Okay, time to get out of here. Make sure you do your cardio before you come to the Intrepid. That is if you want to get up to this deck. As you may have heard in the background, there was some troubles. But fortunately, we went for a run yesterday, so we're all good here.
If you're in the on the hangar deck towards the back, you'll see a typical rack sleeping rack.
Oh, okay.
And you see what it is. It's an aluminum frame. It's just about 6 feet long, and it's like 30 inches wide, maybe. And all it is a piece of canvas stretched across there with what is called really it's only like that height, a pad, basically. And it has what has a sheet les
for wash and something like that. But we had our own term for it.
Il y en a marre, moi, il y en a marre qui
Mais moi, ça m'intéresse. Mais moi, ça m'intéresse.
Because that's all you were sleeping on. That's why I was looking around for some
Kids like our jokes.
Oh, yeah, right. But still, you know, I try to.
All right, we're still not done here. We got a lot actually to do. Well, a fair amount. We got to go into the hangar deck next, which is just behind me. As you can see, we're actually going inside the main hangar. Don't think this Lego display was here during wartime. Sort of idea of how it's actually built. Metal. There is actually wood as its base, which makes sense to give it a little bit more of a lighter weight. If you like models, this is your spot. It's an optical landing system, a massive propeller. As you can obviously see, there was planes that were stored in here. Elevation platform is just beyond these walls. These shutters that you see. Douglas A4 Skyhawk. Not giving you quite as much detail as I started earlier, as it is kind of an overwhelming museum. There's a lot here to take in. We still have another deck to go. Doesn't feel like this was here permanently, but it actually it's a control center for the deck. Of course, we have a simulator ride that everybody is lined up for. Barbershop chairs. Very important to have those clean cut looks. There's much of a point in checking out this display since we've already been on the submarine. Fascinating early helicopter design. MASH helicopter. Really not much to it. Force Encounter, $12 per rider. G-Force Encounter. It's kind of a wacky simulator though. Possibly for another visit. This area very much reminds me of the Science Center back home, except at the Science Center they didn't really have many of those exhibits or interactive ones working still, whereas here they do, but you have to pay. Well, you only have to pay for the simulator back there, but you can expect to line up to try like the simulation airplane with the wind turbine, see if you can keep it afloat. I don't have time to line up. And also, you know, it's probably for the kids more than the adults anyway. I'll come back on a slower day. Anyhow, we're going to another deck before we head out as our tour is nearing its end. This is the ready room.
The guy who came down on top of me was pretty sure that he contributed to me not being there. So they're sitting in the ready room and they hear me land. There's no question about that big old airplane coming down on the deck.
This area is kind of hidden, so it's kind of refreshing because there's nobody here. You can kind of explore it on your own. Radar distribution room. Carrier air traffic control center. There's a lot that goes into this vessel. Feels very reminiscent of the submarine, considering how claustrophobic it is in here. Yet they have all this space over here. It's the main communication station. You get an idea of how old this ship is with those very old Western Union telegraph machines, I believe they are. This takes you back up to flight deck. We don't really want to go that way. We want to go back the way we came. We have but one attraction left to check out here. Now there is supposed to be another deck below the hangar deck that you can check out. I don't think it's open. It's like the officer's mess and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I think I may have found it now. It says exhibits this way, restrooms, food service, elevator. All right, we're gonna go in there, have a quick look here, and see if we can find the final deck, which doesn't look like anyone's really found up this ramp. And then we'll check out our last attraction here. All right, and indeed we have found it, which is I guess this is where the crew and the engineering side of the ship. It looks so much more modern from the outside. And then you come inside and you see the finer details of this ship and you really recognize how old it is. We have a kitchen. That's more like it. It's bigger than most restaurant kitchens. And of course, cafeteria. Nice chairs. Mess hall. It's even more fancier mess hall. Very, very stately seating areas. Living quarters. Okay. And just so you know, it does have elevators here. In this section, you do feel like you're in a regular building if it wasn't for the floor being hollow beneath you. We're headed back out now to the final attraction, I think. Keep getting distracted by extra. That's more like it. I was like, there's no way that that must have been a more executive quarters that we just saw. 3 beds deep. Oh, to be in the middle bunk on that. Getting the best of both worlds. I'm sure that this food provided some interesting passes of wind in the evenings. Finally, after this incredible tour, we have one final thing to check out before we leave the Intrepid Air and Space Museum. That's its proper name, as I've now been acquainted with it entirely. That hangar upstairs, or on the flight deck for the shuttle, is just massive, as the shuttle was massive. But a different type of shuttle entirely, a shuttle for human traffic, or at least human commuter traffic. The brilliant and unmistakable Concorde, a British Airways Concorde, operated only by British Airways and Air France. Now, we can only walk around it, given that we did not pay for the tour. But regardless, it's really special to see one in person for the first time. You can see one of the turbojet engines used for the aircraft. Also get a view on this side of the pier, the rear of the ship. That is Intrepid. An interesting gallery up there that we didn't actually get to see, was part of the education center just up top here. I believe that if you actually go through security, you can just come and see this without paying, as it is a pedestrian concourse and you are allowed to check it out. You just can't go inside. Inarguably the most beautiful commercial jet ever constructed. Hard to believe that it achieved the speeds that it did for what is relatively a smaller engine compared to, say, a Boeing 777, if you are familiar with your aviation. It's not that large. Part of the reason why I don't travel with many that often to places like this is because they say stuff like, we've seen it and now we gotta go. But we have seen it and now we do have to go. So we're gonna head back down the pier and make our way out of the museum, continue my New York tour, which will definitely, I said in that vlog that this may be part of that, but this entire tour has been just too massive for me to include just in that vlog itself. So if you're interested to see where I'm going next, definitely check out that vlog. You could spend more than the time that I've been here. I've spent 2 hours in total. I'd say if you were doing everything, including another simulator that's not in operation today, just inside this building here, and all the exhibits, and take everything in and talk to some of the veterans that are actually inside the ship itself, you could spend a long time, a full day, checking this out. It is actually operating. It's $11 per person. Doesn't look like many people know. So that's it for the tour of the Intrepid Air and Space Museum. Quite a discovery. Well worth the admission if you're into the stuff like I am, like checking out the Space Shuttle and the Concorde behind us, and just the general aircraft carrier and everything. It was just amazing to check it out. You could spend an entire day here. You could probably best spend 4 hours to take everything in. But like I said, it's open 10 to 5, so you have plenty of time to do that if you were so inclined. But definitely check it out. It's, I would say, very worth its while. I certainly have been impressed by everything that was here. Alright, I'm going to continue on my New York tour. Check that vlog out if you're interested. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and always enjoy.